ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् अखण्डं सच्चिदानन्दम् अवाङ्मनसगोचरम् आत्मानम् अखिलाधारम् आश्रये भीष्टसिद्धये अर्थतोऽपि अद्वयानन्दान् अतीतद्वैतभानतः गुरूनाराध्य वेदान्त सारं वक्ष्ये यथामतिः. Okay. Those of you who have a good connection, please switch on your videos. Those who don't have a good connection, I can understand. That's okay. All right. Then we saw the 14th verse last time. Any questions, clarification on it, or shall we go ahead? Nitya karma, naimittika karma, prayashitani, all that. Main phalam, avantara phalam. Okay.
So avantar phalam is not very clear.
Okay. What? When all these karmas, what is the main thing for Vedanta? That you have to grow and mature out as a person.
Yeah.
I doubt whether any student of Vedanta is going to do Nitya Naimittika karmas saying I want to go to heaven or I want to go to Pitraloka.
No.
So that which is the main phalam for the karmata becomes the avantaram or the secondary phalam for the student of Vedanta. So here from the standpoint of the student of Vedanta, he is saying these are avantara phalams. Going to Pitraloka, going to Swarga, etc. are secondary results. Why? Primary result is Chitta Shuddhi. Because remember, Vedanta is not elitist. I will always say this. Anyone and everyone is welcome to study Vedanta. But for whom will Vedanta work? Who will be able to make Vedanta a fact of his or her life? For that maturity of the mind is necessary. You can't dump the mind and hope to get Vedanta knowledge. You can't junk the mind and gain the knowledge. Not possible. Manasa eva anudrashtavyam. That which is not an object of thought for the mind, yan manasana manute, tat manasa eva anudrashtavyam. It has to be known, seen by the mind alone. Because of that, the mind is not something to be junked or left behind. It requires preparation. That's why all this becomes important. And as I said last time, it's okay even if you have not done a lot of karma, etc. in your life. You need to do enough to take care of that mind. Okay? He is talking about how traditionally we got the mind ready. So in our time, Nitya Naimittika karmas may be more worldly in nature than Vedic in nature. But some amount of worship, etc. is important. Without that, it doesn't happen. You need to have Ishvara in your life. If you ignore that and become secular Vedantins, it won't work out. Okay? There is no secular Vedanta. Vedanta is Vedanta. It includes Ishvara in it. If you don't like it, go fish. That's all. Yeah, there is no secular Vedanta. Though some modern acharyas try to do it like that. People like Muji and all, they do try to make it. But it's all just half-hearted attempt. That I am awareness, consciousness is clear, but nothing more than that. That consciousness is everything, etc. doesn't come out in their teaching at all. Doesn't come in their life also. Both it doesn't come. In fact, he came to Puja Swamiji and asked, how can you teach awareness? So it's very clear what he is talking about as awareness is your generalized contemplative mind, awareful mind. He is not talking about awareness as consciousness. Because that question itself makes it clear. Swamiji didn't even bother to answer him. He just laughed. He just laughed and left it like that. Yeah. And told him, please have lunch before you go. Okay, so if there are no questions, let us go ahead. He says, because of this intelligent way of living, you become sadhana chatushtaya sampannaha. So all the sadhana in Vedanta is to cultivate these qualities in yourself. Okay? The sadhana in Vedanta is not how much of puja, part, etc. that you have done. Though if you have done something, that's good because bhakti is there in you. That's good. Therefore, you will be a better karma yogi. Okay. But you mean to say you can't be a better karma yogi if you don't do too much of puja and part? As long as you acknowledge Ishvara in your life, okay, as long as you are conscious of the role of Ishvara in your life and you bring it in your day-to-day life, that's what matters. That's why he says, Asmin Janmani Janmantareva. Some previous lifetime you must have done enough for the samskaras to continue in this lifetime. It's always good to do something. Like Naimittikam, tomorrow is Janmashtami. So some worship of Krishna is good to have. Yeah. Because Krishna was not only a Gopala. Gopala has another meaning, okay? Go also means the earth. Or it can also mean the Veda. These are all alternate meanings for the word go. Tat palayati iti, the one that protects, nurtures it. Okay? The one that protects and nurtures it. Okay? Therefore, whether he is a Gopala or whether he is a warrior king or whether he is a Gita Acharya, okay? In whatever manner you worship, that's good. Okay? And his life, if you look at again, I have to say all these things because these are all things that are there in modern society. There is one Acharya who says, Krishna's life, Krishna tried to spiritualize politics and his life was a failure. And Avatara's life is not meant to spiritualize politics, okay? It's very obvious that the guy doesn't have any understanding of the Shastra, what an Avatara's life is meant for. I'm sure all of you recognize what Avatara's life is meant for. I don't think you'll need reminding. Do you all need reminding? Or you'll remember the last few verses of the Gita. Why sambhavami yuge yuge, etc. All that. Yeah. Dharma rakshanartham, adharma nashanartham. Those are his jobs. And Krishna's job was also to see the transition of a yuga. Okay? From the previous yuga to Kali yuga. Okay? Dwapara to Kali. So, that was his job. Not to spiritualize politics. Why I am forced to mention all these things in a Vedanta class is because there are Brihaspatis talking nonsense like that. Okay. Therefore, I have to say it. Yeah. Don't ask me who said, etc. That you look in the net. Okay. All right. Therefore, sadhanani. What is sadhanas? Okay. The 15th verse. Okay. Sadhanani नित्यानित्य वस्तु विवेकः इहामुत्रार्थ फल भोग विरागः शमादि षट्क संपत्तिः मुमुक्षुत्वानीति. These are the fourfold qualifications. Nitya vastu viveka, ihamutra, phala bhoga, viragaha or vairagya, and shat sampatti, samadhi shatka sampatti, and mumukshutvam. One mature mind, four dimensions of it. One mature mind, but four dimensions, so that it's very clear to see what is lacking in us and what has to be worked upon. This is each one's job, okay? Each one's job. If you have problems with that, you always have one-on-one with the teacher available, okay? Okay. Therefore, nitya anitya vastu vivekastvad brahmaiva nityam vastu tad anyad akhilam anityamiti vivechanam. What is nitya anitya vastu vivekaha? Brahmaiva nityam vastu tad anyad, other than that, akhilam, the entire world, anityamiti vivechanam, this understanding. Hey, if you know Brahman is Satyam, then why do you need to study Vedanta? Therefore, taken as a qualification, you know apatataha. Apata jnanam is there. Some general knowledge is there. ब्रह्म के नाम हमने सुना था, ब्रह्म में हूँ न ना था पता. Okay, a famous Hindi film song. Okay, yeah. I've heard about Brahman. That's all. And I know if you gain Brahman, then all your problems are solved. That much I have heard. That is a nitya vastu, that is timeless, eternal, etc., etc., etc. Apata jnanam. And everything that I see and I experience and that I think I am are all anityam. The world that I deal with, anityam. Tell me one nitya vastu in the world, one that is permanent, one relationship that is permanent. समझिए, we are married according to the Hindu Shastra, 7 जन्म के लिए 7 साथ है. Oh my God, 7 lifetimes together. Isn't one lifetime enough? One lifetime also becomes too much for some people. Okay, all right, even it's only 7 lifetimes now. After that, there is an end or not? And believe me, by the 7th lifetime, you are fit enough to walk away from each other. You don't want anything to do with each other, okay? To understand that everything is anityam. In fact, when I did this last time, I had asked people, have you all read this book by Richard Bach on relationship called A Bridge Across Forever? It's a beautiful love story. His own story that culminates in a beautiful marriage, and then he talks about how that marriage goes forward, etc. Very beautiful. Everyone reading that will think they want a relationship like that. Honestly, it's very good. But 15 years afterwards, they are divorced. He had come to Bombay and he was asked, how come you divorced? It was such a great love story. He says, we finished our learning with each other. There's nothing more to learn from each other. I thought, nice way of putting it. Nice way of putting it. You are fed up and you are ready to walk away. Anityam asukham lokam imam prapya bhajasva mam. याद है किधर आया है? अनित्यम असुखम लोकम इमम प्राप्य भजस्व माम. Gita 9th chapter, okay? Yeah. Gita, 9th chapter, I think the last but one verse, yeah. Therefore, to understand this, my relationships are anityam, my job is anityam, though I spend so much of time on it. 16 hours a day I'm spending on my job, anityam. All my roles, anityam. All that I achieve in life, anityam. My body, definitely anityam. My ideas, of course anityam. How can they not be anityam? My emotions, anityam. My loyalties, what about that? Anityam, this lifetime maximum. One lifetime maximum. Desha Bhakti, of course, I am willing to die for the country. This lifetime because I am born here. Next lifetime if I am born somewhere else. Then what? Yeah. So, anityam. Everything is anityam. Your ideas, your thoughts. Anityam only. Yeah. Other than Brahman, everything is anityam. This is Viveka, that understanding. Therefore, there is a natural desire to understand the nityam. Because when you understand everything is anityam, you feel a bit mooringless. What do you have to hold on to? You feel insecure. If you really understand everything is anityam, there is a sense of insecurity coming in. Because nothing is permanent. What do I hold on to? Where do I feel safe? Because this search is natural in human beings. The search for the infallible. Because human beings are born helpless. Understand this well. Human beings are born totally helpless. Unlike the calf of a cow or a deer or a giraffe, within a couple of hours they'll stand up and start walking around. Human being takes a whole year before he'll take walk. Start learning to walk. 10 months. According to the milestone, average milestone, 10 months before it can take the first few steps. Therefore, we need to trust, and trust totally. A child trusts totally. And it can trust totally only if it thinks at a conscious and a subconscious level both that my parents are infallible. They'll never fail me. That's why the first time the child discovers you are fallible, it is difficult for the child. It may be something simple. You promised the 3-year-old child that you will get the toy when you come home. And you are delayed from work that day. So the kid is happy. Daddy is definitely going to get the toy when he comes. That's why he is late today. And rubbing sleep from his eyes is waiting for daddy to come. And daddy comes, Daddy, my toy. But I'm so sorry. My directors were down. So I couldn't go. Daddy, 5 minutes. You couldn't go. What does the child understand about your directors coming down? Tell me. 3-year-old child, does it even understand the meaning of the word director? What does it feel? Let down. That's all. Simple as that. Though you didn't mean to let the child down. But the child feels like that. The child has discovered one truth. You are fallible. So the search for the infallible starts. From the parents to heroes to the... And you find everyone has feet of clay. including historical heroes. All the Mughal kings that we were taught as heroes, who brought in great culture and all in our society, we discover they were people who destroyed our culture. Akbar, we looked up to Akbar the Great. Where was he great? Gone. Gone. Then we look at Shivaji, this, that, etc. But they also didn't win and get freedom. They were great kings, but yeah. Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, etc. don't even talk. Fallible. Sports field, fallible. Someone gets a bronze medal and we are saying, oh, great, 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 great. It's good, it's great. No one says no to that. Yeah, it's a great achievement. To compete on the international level is a great achievement. But it is not infallibility. And the child is looking for that. The child in you, in each one of you, is looking for that infallible figure. And therefore, when you discover everything is anityam, other side of anityam is fallibility. When it discovers that, what is? Why do I have muted them? They'll unmute and keep it on and then talk. So, everything is fallible. These are definitely fallible, okay? Yeah. So, when you discover that, everything anityam, that means fallible. You are bound to feel something to hold on to. The search for God starts there. But most religious understanding of God is very finite. Most religions don't present an infallible God. There was one guy who used to call himself Hindu Hridaya Samrat. Thank God he was cremated. Watching what his son is doing, he would have been turning over in his grave if he was buried. Okay. He was coming back from Pune. Wife had a heart attack. Took him to hospital in Panvel. Power failure. They couldn't do anything to save her. So this Hindu Hridaya Samrat says, someone who was a trustee in the Coimbatore ashram from Bombay, she was a trustee for some time, Nirmal Gupta. She went to pay condolences. She knew him. He said, Didi, भगवान से मेरा मन उठ गया. तो क्या हो गया? मेरा बीवी इतना अच्छी थी. She was such a nice lady. And God took her away. Didn't save her. And I was thinking God saved her from you. Who would like to be with you? Hindu Hridaya Samrat. But what was his idea of God? Because I am Hindu Hridaya Samrat, God should save my wife? ये किधर से आया? You are not Hindu Hridaya Samrat anyway. So these are all notions of God. That's why Pujya Swamiji used to put it the other way around. Don't say God is infallible. Say whatever is infallible is God. Ulta. That is the human search. Part of Viveka that becomes Brahma Satyam. Call it Ishara, call it Brahman, is one and the same thing. Anyat Sarvat Anityam. So you have to understand that. Connect it up with your looking for it. Anyone who have elderly parents know how the role reversal takes place. And if the parents were going to look at children as infallible, what will happen? In their helplessness when they get old. And if they looked at children as infallible, what will happen? Whatever you do will not be enough. However good you are, whatever you do will not be enough. It won't be enough. Because you are not infallible anyway. My nieces, until they were 15, 16, thought of me as infallible. And I said, this is bad. If at 15, 16 they are still thinking someone like me is infallible, I have to show them I am fallible. Yeah, because if they discover I am fallible at a later age, when they are 25, 30, they'll become more traumatic. So I helped them, I made them see that I also have my faults. Because I am not infallible. Nobody can be infallible. Therefore, that is Viveka. Okay? This is part of Viveka. Refined understanding of Viveka. Okay? All right. Fine. Then what about Vairagya? Vairagya is a natural consequence of it. Aihikanam Srak Chandra Vanitadi Vishya Bhoganam Karma Janyata Anityatvad Amushkanam Api Mrutadi Vishya Bhoganam Anityataya Tebhya Niratam Viratihi. Okay, little cutter definition. Now, what is Vairagya? When you understand everything is anityam, what happens in your mind? You don't expect a permanent joy or fulfillment from anything. No? You understand everything is fallible. Therefore, you know your friend may let you down. Your partner may let you down. What do you mean may let you down? Will let you down. Once in a way, not every time, once in a way. But Swamiji, 20 years of marriage, he has let me down 20 times. Only once a year, no? Thank God. Only once a year, no? Big thing here. And small things, no? Not big things. No, big things only 3 or 4. Oh, wow, good. That's a good relationship. Worth building it upon. Yeah, worth spending time and effort. But you gain a sense of natural objectivity will come in. And what are you seeking for? Total fulfillment is what you are seeking for. Then what about all these joys that you get in life? They are smelling the roses on the way. Smelling the flowers on the way. Enjoying the beauty on the way. It's all on the way. Therefore, he goes to an extreme definition here by saying, Aihikanam, here, what is available here? What is that? Srak Chandana Vanitadi Vishya Bhoganam. Srak Chandana Vanita, this is a definition used for pleasures in life. Okay? Srak, garland. Garlanding means ornamental. All the ornament that you use to beautify yourself. Whatever ornaments you use. Okay? Men also. Nowadays, men don't use so much of ornaments as before. Before, men also used to use ornaments. Tattoos also come into the picture. Okay? Yeah, tattoos also come into the picture. Your designer watches also, luxury watches also come into the picture because they are ornamental. No? Yeah. Someone asked me, Swamiji, this designer watch looks so beautiful. Don't you feel like wearing it? I said, no. I want to wear a functional watch. Maybe a field watch where you get wet, you put it in the mud, nothing happens to it. My functioning is important, not the thing, not how it looks. Not how it looks. Yeah. Therefore, that's all indicated by Srak, Chandanam. Chandanam, all your colognes, perfumes, etc. Okay? Deos, colognes, perfumes. Yeah. Your sophisticated ones. I don't even remember what it is. My time used to all Chanel 5 and always supposed to be perfumes to be gifted, when you had ulterior motives also. Okay. Now I don't know what's going around. I am not that update in those departments. Okay. Anyway, I should ask my students, what are the great perfumes available now for men and women? What would be considered really good, great? Can anyone enlighten me? Yeah, it's good to use it so that you don't share your body odor. That much is good. Okay, that much is good. My own students have come and given me some perfumes, colognes, male. Good, fine. I'm thankful to them. Okay, I don't have to spend money on that. That much is okay. But your idea of it as a pleasure. Chandanam, vanitadi, sexual pleasures. Fine, it's human. What's the big deal about it? What's the big deal about it? What some research said, 7 minutes of fun. No? Kingsley report or something. Long back. And maybe they should do another survey. There's always funding available for all these things. Okay. Funding available for research into Vedanta won't be available. For these things you will get. Okay. So, all these, which are what? Vishaya Bhoganam. Indication of all Vishaya Bhogas. No, but we are religious people. We make things only to offer to the Lord. South Indian mummies risk getting burnt on Janmashtami to make prasad. New information for you all, na? How many of you make chidai at home?
It's the most dangerous thing ever.
Yes, chidai is dangerous to make at home. Especially the sweet one. It can explode in the oil and you can get burnt. If it is done out of bhakti, it is one thing. If it is done because I like to enjoy it, you are risking getting burnt to enjoy it. So don't use bhakti as justification, okay? Add bhakti to it, then it becomes different. Yeah. Therefore, all this Vishaya Bhoganam Karmajanyatva. Because they're all Karmajanyam. All the things that you enjoy in life are Karmajanyam, born out of karma. Yeah. Born out of karma. Therefore, Anityam. Amushkamanam. Amritadi Vishaya Bhoganam. Otherworldly experiences. Go to heaven, divine music, divine food. They are also anitya, na? They are also anitya. Shine punya marti lokam vishanti. Punya is over, you come back. Then you go again, then you come back. It's like having a great holiday. Any of you who had a long holiday, towards the end of it, have you not felt, hey, I should go back home and relax? Short holidays of 3-4 days, you won't feel like that. But take a 1 month holiday and see. You'll have longing to come back. Yeah. And that's what happens. You go to heaven, you'll come back. Bombay people will definitely want to come back. Why? Even Surat people, okay? बेलपुरी नहीं मिलेगा उधर, वड़ा पाव नहीं मिलेगा. Yeah, but I want to come back. Okay, therefore, because of that, tebhyaha niratam viratihi. Therefore, a natural turning away from them. Natural. Come on, yaar, this is not what I am after in life. I want the Nitya Vastu. Let me not waste my time and effort on it. If it is there, I will enjoy it. I am willing to give some amount of time and effort, but not too much of it. Niratam virati will make you a sannyasi. Relative objectivity will make you a karma yogi. Optimum is karma yoga. Sannyasa is one plus. Okay, sannyasa is a plus. Optimum is karma yoga. But both require a degree of vairagya. A degree of vairagya. All your life should not be spent in longing of how to beautify your house, gather things from all over the world and clutter up your house. After all, it's a Bombay flat, okay. No, it's a Jodi flat, 2 flats combined together. Even then, that's all that is there, na? So you're going to go all over the world and collect artifacts to beautify your house. How much of time and effort? I'm not saying keep your house like mine, bare minimum. Functional. I'm not saying that. Beautify your house. But that house is not going to give you the fulfillment. Yeah. All your life spent in improving your relationship with your friends, your family, your this and that. How much? How much? Shatra, Mitra, Putra, Bandhu, all that. How much of time are you going to go on improving? Enough, yaar, this is functionally fine. Enough. It's a good functional relationship, na? You nurture each other and give joy and fulfillment. Na, हाँ, उतना होता है, बस हो गया. और कितना improve करें? और कितना? How much are you going to spend your time on that? How many books are you going to read? How many therapy cases are you going to go? For what? No, my relationship has to improve. You're seeking for moksha in a relationship, it is not there. You can get moksha from the relationship. But you won't get moksha in the relationship. So, ठीक है, it's a good relationship, let it be. It's fine. Have a little bit of a male attitude. If it is not broken, don't try to fix it. It's useful attitude to have. If it is not broken, don't try to fix it. Because otherwise you'll keep on trying to fix it and then it'll get broken up. Guaranteed. This comes from our engineering knowledge. You keep on trying to refine. You'll polish and finally you find it breaks in your hand. Don't. Certain minimum or optimum condition, good enough. Good enough. No, everything in my life has to be great. It's anityam, it's not going to be great. That understanding and that emotional response to the understanding, that emotional response to this understanding is called vairagya. Minimum objectivity. Maximum, I don't want to waste any more time on it. Yeah. So objectivity is minimum, okay? In terms of vairagya. Maximum is, don't want to spend any time and effort on it. In between, okay, some time and effort, but not more than that. Okay. Okay. Iha amutra artha phala bhogaha viraga. Here and hereafter. Yeah. Otherwise, you find people, in fact, most religions, what are they doing? Everything they are doing is so that you can go and enjoy things afterwards. You will deny yourself enjoyments here for getting enjoyments there. You will kill people here to get enjoyments there. My God. What a pipe dream they are living under. No understanding of karma, karma phala. Yeah. We are living in a very, very odd world. When the terrorists are complaining that they were victims of a terrorist attack. The blast outside Kabul airport. The Taliban is comparing, this is a terrorist attack. Karma can come and bite you back, okay? Yeah. Anyway, therefore, this is okay. All right. Then, Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti. What is that? He is just first enumerating them. Shamadehastu, Shama Damaha Uparati, Titikshaha Samadhana Shraddhakya. Now, what is that? Shamastu, Shravana. Now, this is a bit extreme definitions, okay? Meant for sadhus and sannyasis. Okay? Shamastu, Shamastavat, Shravanadi Vyatirikta, Vishebhiha Manasa Nigraha. Straight. Manasa Nigraha. Your mental withdrawal of your mind. From what? Other than Shravanadi, other than the study of Vedanta, from everything else. That's why this is Sannyasinam Lakshanam. Okay? This Shama is extreme, meant only for sannyasis. What about the others? Mastery of the mind. Okay, for those who are karma yogis, okay, it is mastery of the mind. Your mind listens to you. You are not victimized by your own mind. In terms of your emotions, in terms of your thinking. To think clearly, feel deeply, act decisively. So to be able to make decisions, to be able to think clear, get rid of all the erroneous notions in your mind. And believe me, the amount of erroneous notions we can have is phenomenal. Sometimes when I look at the students, I think when I take a full-time course at some time, I will, as part of the beginning, I will have a thinking class for them. How to think. Because our subjectivity is so much. Even of people who are generally objective, I find there is so much of subjectivity when it comes to some pet notions. So much of it. Swamiji, do you have any subjectivity? I have. And I am aware of it. So I know how to deal with it and not let it affect my interactions or my decisions. Because subjectivity makes a human being. What is objective about enjoying a piece of chocolate? Except the chocolate is outside and you want to put it inside. What is objective about it? Or enjoying a cup of coffee? What is objective about it? It's subjective only. Na? So like that there can be subjective. Yeah. The type of music you like, all that is fine. That type of subjectivity is not a problem. The subjectivity that affects your function is an issue. That affects your relationship is an issue. Your idea of what things should be. Instead of looking at what is. That's where subjectivity comes in. To master your mind, Shamaha. To master your emotions. That's why right in the beginning when you all first walked into my class, second chapter of the Gita, I did that. No? Distorted thinking, handling your emotions. How to change your emotions by changing your thinking. Not fighting your emotions. Those are important things to know. How to live a life. Yeah, how to live a life. I do this for corporate executives also. Why? They are full of subjectivity only. Otherwise, where will all the corporate politics come up? You're all working for one company, no? Should be a team, no? Where you are a team, you are fighting, jockeying for position. Yeah. There's a lot of subjectivity there, okay? All right. Therefore, that objectivity is Shama, that mastery of the mind. So the question is not, hey, today I'm not in mood. Who asked about your mood? Do what has to be done. Yeah, do what has to be done. What about mood? Yeah. Shamaha. Yeah. My little one has popped up on the screen. Huh? Nice to see him. He just got up, I think. Hi, champ. That's Nisha's son, okay? Yeah. Yeah, the younger one, yeah. How old is he now?
How old are you? 10. He's 10.
10, wow, he's growing. He's growing, yeah. I'll see you next year. Okay, I'm coming there next year. Okay, then Damaha. What is Damaha? He says, same definition he gives. Bahya indriyanam tad vyatirakta vishebhyaha nivartanam. Your external sense organs of action. Tad vyatirakta, Shravanadi vyatirakta. Other than study of Vedanta, other than that, sarvebhyaha nivartanam. Withdrawal from that. Why are you wasting time in things that doesn't matter to you? Why are you wasting time in that which doesn't matter to you?
He's saying hi to you.
Yeah, it's all these kids who are extending my life, okay? Why? Because they are all waiting to study from me. So all these kids who are making my life extended. Yeah. Okay. Therefore, Damaha. Don't waste your time on things, he says. Okay, again a little bit extreme, meant for sannyasis. For people in the world, same thing. Refrain from activities which is not in harmony with your priorities. So work on your priorities now. Spend time and effort on your priorities. But Swamiji, we have to relax up also. Yes, good relaxation is part of your priority because your body and mind requires it. But a healthy relaxation. Not watching your normal TV, watching AXN, watching Star movies, Star Trek, all that thing, and then Netflix, Amazon. What all are you going to watch? 8 hours a day you're going to spend in front of the TV or what? Everyone is complaining not enough time. But entertainment is the fastest growing industry. Why? Because Dhamma is missing in people's lives. Then saying we are sleep deprived. Swamiji, I can't meditate, I feel sleepy. Naturally. You have been watching Netflix, Amazon, etc. up to 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock in the night. Then you are getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning or even 7 o'clock in the morning and trying to meditate. How is it feasible? Not feasible. Yeah. Therefore, Damaha. Have everything in your life. But have a sense of mastery, a sense of discipline. Dhamma is at the level of the organs of action, sense organs of action, etc. Having a sense of discipline, a mastery. That discipline is your freedom. That discipline is your freedom because it frees you to do all the things that you really want to do. Yeah. They'll really add some fulfillment in your life. So that discipline becomes important. Anyone who has achieved something knows that. Therefore, Damaha. It can also mean, my teacher used to give a good example. Dhamma is necessary if Shamaha is lacking. If you have processed your anger, this, that, etc., as it comes up, and you know how to negate it, you don't need Dhamma. But if this is a little bit lacking, you're feeling angry and you can't get over that anger, then Dhamma at the physical level you have to control yourself, otherwise you'll go and whack somebody. So Dhamma, yeah. The first thing all martial artists are taught, Dhamma. Really, if in a traditional martial art class, the first thing that you are taught, Dama. Why? Because you are developing your power, your ability to do damage with your hands and legs. Therefore, don't. Don't. Learn when not to use it. Damaha. Traditional class. I don't know how it is nowadays, modern classes, but traditional classes. Damaha. Though they don't call it Damaha. They'll make you stand in this thing, and people will be standing in a line, and each one of them will come and punch you half a dozen times in your stomach, and you should not retaliate. Simple. Simple, no nonsense teaching, okay? Dhamma. Well, you get angry or this thing, but you are supposed to just sit down and take it. That's it. Dhamma. No nonsense way of teaching. It works. Okay, it works. Yeah. How many of you came for the Coimbatore camp here from here? Did I not make you all do something like this, similar to this in the Coimbatore camp? You're standing and others are giving you some gali, some this thing, and trying to provoke you to react.
Yes, it was great.
Yeah. What was that? Samadama. It's not random activities that I do, okay? There's nothing random about those things. They're all meant to cultivate some things, okay? Samadama. Okay. Then he says, going ahead, he says, Nivartitanam etasham tad vyatirakta vishayebhya uparamanam uparati atava vihitanam karmanam vidina parityagaha.
Hari Om. Can I say something about Dhamma and Shama?
Yeah, Ketan, what do you want to say?
There was a very good example given in a Valmiki Ramayana.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to speak or I should not speak it?
If you can be brief, please be.
Yeah, I am attending for the first time. So I remember one example given in Valmiki Ramayana. As Sita and Lakshmanji were alone in the kutir, and the Ram went for these other rishis and all. The Ram took exam of Lakshman whether Sita was a Trailokya Sundari and said, Dhamma and Shama, it is on Dhamma and Shama. Then Rama took the parrot Rupa Sarup, and then he went there and said, Pushpam Društva Palam Društva Društva Tinantu Yavanam Trini Rupani Drashteva Kasya no Chalate Mana. तो आदमी पुष्प देख के स्त्री देखे या तो इसका
Ketan, I don't remember that verse in Valmiki. Are you sure it's from Valmiki?
Yeah, it is. I am having book also. I can send you.
It may be somebody's book and somebody's creation. I don't remember that verse from the Valmiki.
Not creation. It's from the book only. This is.
Please find out the verse and the reference number and message me. Okay.
I can give the screenshot also. I will send you.
Yeah, send that to me because I don't remember this verse from the Valmiki. Yeah.
So it is a picture on Dhamma and Shama between the Ram and the Lakshman.
Okay, let it be. Yeah, but show it to me before we go take that discussion further. Okay. Okay. All right. Therefore,
it
yeah.
was written in a Pandurang Shastri's book. It is example.
I want it from the original, not from Pandurang Shastri's book.
Okay.
Yeah.
They have taken from Valmiki Ramayana. Okay.
I want the original, not somebody else's book. Fair enough, Ketan?
Whatever you said. Hari Om.
Yeah, Hari Om. Yeah. Therefore, nivartitanam etesham tad vyatirakta vishayebhyaha. Now, this mind that has been withdrawn because of Shama and Dhamma from unnecessary activities, taisham uparatihi, that inner poise that you have, inner poise, that quietude. It should not be that you have withdrawn it but you are fantasizing about it. You have withdrawn and you are fantasizing. That doesn't help. You are withdrawn and you are daydreaming. You are withdrawn and mind is going here and there. No. In short, enjoying a contemplative mind. Therefore, in other books of Vedanta itself, Uparati is also defined in other ways. Like he himself gives them that. Vihitanam karmanam vidinam parityagaha. In other words, sannyasa. Vihitanam karmanam. All of us are enjoined to do some karmas. Nitya naimittika prayaschittadini. Kami karmadini cha. All of them to give up. Vidina give up. By the proper orders giving it up. That means sannyasa. How else can you give up? Vihita karma. Not doing is not giving up. Okay. Not doing is manmane karna. Yeah. Not doing is manmane karna. To do it in terms of proper vividisha sannyasa. Why? Sannyasya shravanam kuryat. There is a vidhi like that in the Veda. Sannyasya sarva karma sannyasa. After that, shravanam kuryat. Then what are you going to spend your time and effort and energy into? Study of Vedanta. What else? That is one way of looking at it. Other books also define it as karma yoga buddhi. Because you are still in society. You still have things to achieve in society. Therefore, having Ishwararpana prasada buddhi in your life. Karma yoga buddhi. You have seen in the Gita, karma yoga is always also called tyaga. In the Gita we have seen this. Karma yoga is also called tyaga. And sannyasa is sannyasa, karma yoga is tyaga. Therefore, tyaga leads to sannyasa. Therefore, karma yoga buddhi. Uparati. Swadharme nishtaha. That's how it is put in other books. Swadharme nishtaha. In your own dharma, nishtaha. To be rooted in that. Swadharma nishtaha uparati. Then titiksha, next one. Sitoshnadi dvandva sahishnuta. The ability to put up with the opposites in life. Heat and cold, joy and sorrow. Theek hai yaar. To learn to be a little stoic in life is good. Oh, it is hot. Of course it will be hot. Put on the fan. Put on the AC if you want to. Nahi hai. Now it's gone for repair. Put up with it. What are you cribbing about it? Sahanam sarva dukkhanam. To be able to put up with all the pinpricks of life. Apratikara purvakam. Without wanting to take revenge. All right. Chinta vilapa rahitam. Without unnecessary worry and vilapa. What is vilapa? What we normally do, krib. Chinta vilapa rahitam. Sa titikshati nigadyate. Pandemic hai yaar. Still, lot of masking, this, that, etc. Sahanam sarva dukkhanam. Can't meet friends, can't go for partying, etc. Yeah, correct. Put up with it. Yeah, big deal. What's the big problem of wearing a mask? By now you should have got used to it. You should feel different without a mask. You should feel odd without a mask now, if you have regularly been wearing it. Because body gets used to things very fast. Put up with it. Masking is necessary, correct. Some amount of social distancing, yeah, correct. The good news is, many experts are thinking, in India we are reaching an endemic stage. Many experts are thinking like that. I'm not too sure how much it is, but whatever. It's an expert's opinion, so you should consider it. Endemic stages where most people have had some sort of exposure and some sort of antibodies and immunity to it. So it's no more a pandemic, it's an endemic. Still cases will be there, isolated pockets will be there, but the vast majority is safe. If that is true, it is great. I remember a prediction that by September we will be free from it. If you reach an endemic stage, good chances of it. Yeah. Good, अच्छा है. Oh, it is not there. Okay, not there. Continue. until most are vaccinated. What's the big deal about it? Why are you cribbing about it? I remember a time when we used to take a flight, and those are the days when I used to fly every week out of town for some corporate program or the other. There's nothing like security check. In the late 80s, early 90s and all, where security check? We used to walk into the airport with our bags and walk onto the flight with it. At the most, there will be a cursory X-ray happening. Nobody bothers. That's all. Then after all the terrorist attacks, big security check. And we all were cribbing at that time, oh my God, security check, taking half an hour extra. Now does anybody bother about security checks? Anybody cribs about it? New normal. New normal. Yeah, that's the new normal. Yeah. In fact, we are pleasantly surprised. Like I was coming back from the London airport, I was waiting to go for that X-ray where you lift your hands and they screen your body. When the security officer comes and tells me, sir, please come this way, you are excused from that. So thank you. Pleasantly surprised. That's not normal. I'm not a VIP. Even VIPs have to go through a security check. That's what I would say. Yeah. Because there have been cases where VIPs have become terrorists. Yeah, there have been cases like that. Everyone should go through security check, me included. Yeah. Therefore, new normal. So you stop cribbing. So why are you cribbing about anything in life? Do what you have to. If you can do something about it, do something about it. Stop cribbing. Chinta vilapa rahitam, that is a sign of titiksha. It is not resignation to the problems of life. It is dealing with it without chinta vilapa. Forget it. Not worth it. It's hot. So by cribbing about heat, is it going to stop? You're going to be hot and bothered. You might as well be only hot. Why be bothered also on top of it? Yeah. All right. Tiksha sarva. In fact, he quotes that verse there. Sahanam sarva dukkhanam apratikara purvakam chinta vilapa rahitam sa titiksha nigadyate. It's from Viveka Chudamani by Shankara. Very important definition of titiksha. The chinta vilapa is what is the most important thing. Then what is samadhi? Samadhiyate yasmin manaha, where the mind is resolved. In what? Nigrahitasya manasaha shravanado tad anuguna vishayecha samadhi samadhanam. What is samadhi? Samadhi is to place your mind somewhere. Place your mind in the teaching. If you are a sannyasi, what else do you have to do in life? Nothing else. Anything else is for whatever you do for Sharira Yatra. Bhiksha jayega. Morning bath, etc., etc. And Rishikesh those days, it was only cold water. Cold water was normal water. Hot water was considered luxury. Yeah. Therefore, titiksha comes into it. Samadhanam is letting your mind be in with Vedanta, not letting it be pulled away here and there unnecessarily. For sannyasis, nothing else. For other people, into what is important for you, what are your priorities? Vedanta plus your priorities. Let your mind remain there. It is also presented as accommodation of people, etc. Because what disturbs the mind is lack of accommodation. You can't accept people for what they are. You can't accommodate them. You are always reacting to people. Somebody disagrees with you, you take it as a personal affront. It's a disagreement, Baba. It's a disagreement. What's the big deal about it? He has his opinion, you have your opinion. You can't come to an agreement. He doesn't want to discuss with you. So, why are you taking it as a personal affront? Accommodate that. No? Accommodate that. Accept his right to think differently. That is foolish. Okay, you think he is foolish, he thinks you are foolish. It's okay, doesn't matter. Both of you have the right to think like that. I have a couple of people like that in my life. It's okay, I'll accommodate them. I won't take him out for lunch or dinner, we'll go together. Why not? It's okay. These areas we can't talk. Okay, doesn't matter. Accommodation. That keeps your mind fine. Or if you are a person who knows the truth, etc., compassion will come into the picture even more. Accommodation is minimum. Compassion is very good to have. Yeah. The sense of compassion, etc. Yeah. Samadhi. Okay. If any of you have doubts in any of these, please ask. I don't think all of you have doubts because this is the second time you are doing it. Okay. Then what is Shraddha? Guru Upadishta Vedanta Vakyeshu Vishwasaha Shraddha. Simple. No nonsense. Okay. Guru Upadishta Vedanta Vakyeshu. Both together you have to take it. The Vedanta Vakyas taught by a teacher, by the Guru. Until I understand it very clearly, Vishwasaha, I believe it to be true. I take it as true. I give the benefit of doubt to the teacher. I say, I have yet to understand it, but I will understand it. Vishwasaha. This is for the teacher, not for somebody else, okay? Of course, all of you are free to say, you are not my teacher. Then I don't know why you are wasting your time or my time. Okay. Therefore, that Vishwasaha. But Guru Upadishta Vedanta Vakyeshu. If he talks about medicine, he may not be an expert in it. Therefore, you don't have to believe everything he says as true. Because he is not an expert in medicine. He may be well informed about medicine, like how I am. But I don't consider myself an expert. That's why if there is a medical thing to be checked up, I check up with the two of the doctors who are here. Because they are the experts, not me. Yeah. Vedanta Vakyeshu, Vishwasaha. Until pending understanding, you will take it as true. But it is not a lifelong belief. We don't want believers. We want people who understand, who try to understand. So the belief is pending understanding. So you will question the teacher. You will question to understand, not question to dismiss. Not question to dismiss. You will question to understand. Pariprashnena sevaya. And how many of you remember my old example about Shraddha being confidence and trust in the pramana? Yaad hai? Excuse me, something irritating my throat. How many of you remember that example? That's one thing, yes? Kiran has indicated.
Something in the bag.
Do you have change for $100?
Yeah.
You don't know. But let me check. The confidence, the trust that if you check, you will know. If you check, you will know. There is no doubt about it, no? Whether you have change for $100, you don't know. But you know for sure that if you check, you will know. That confidence and trust in Vedanta Vakya, if you learn from a teacher, you will know. That confidence, that trust, it takes time to develop. Nobody develops it in the first class. I don't expect it either. Because if somebody has it in the first class, that generally is a sign of blind belief. So I'll deliberately say and do things that will shake that belief a bit. It takes time to develop. And as you learn more and more, then you understand, barabar hai, barabar hai. Then you find that trust and confidence coming in. Otherwise, you are starting as only open mind. So anything can come and go. Okay? No, not that type of an open mind. Vishwasa. Pending discovery, you will take it as true. That's the starting point. More Shraddha after some studies is confidence, trust. Yes. If I look into the Vedanta Vakyas in line with what I am being taught, I will get to know the truth. That is Shraddha. Then the last of the sadhanani is mumukshutvam. Mumukshutvam, moksha ichha. Simple. Desire for moksha. This is what is very often lacking. Very often in people, it is a mumukshutvam that is lacking. That you are not able to commit yourself to moksha. I am not saying make it the only priority in your life. If you are making it the only priority, you will become sadhus. But when you are living in society, can you give moksha the same priority as other things in your life? As other important things. Important things. I know people who will miss a Vedanta class for a game of bridge. And they are not professional bridge players. I can understand if it is your profession. Okay, Baba, once in a way you will have to miss a Vedanta class because there is a bridge tournament and you are a professional. But as a non-professional, I know people who will miss Vedanta class for a game of bridge. What are you talking about? It's a game. Swamiji, Sunday morning I can't attend the class. Why? I play cricket with my friends. Oh, are you a budding cricketer? Are you trying for Ranji Trophy or something? First step. No, just for fun. So the fun becomes more important than moksha. Okay, fine. Attend some other class. Don't attend Sunday morning class. No, other class, this happened, that happened, this happened, that. Correct. So there is time for everything else, there is no time for moksha. That's all it means. Swamiji, but I want moksha. That is a vague general desire. Yeah. That's not commitment. That's a vague desire. Agar mila to acha hai. I will attend a class, I will take what I can. Don't. How much are you committed? It is mumukshutvam that gives you that commitment to do what it takes. Because study of Vedanta is a value-based study. And the value is your personal freedom. Not freedom to do what you want. That everybody has. The Constitution guarantees you to have the freedom to do what you want. As long as it's not illegal. Even immoral, the Constitution is not bothered about. Only legality, the Constitution is bothered about. Yeah. So the Constitution gives you that freedom. So what's the big deal about that? You already have it. Now I want to have a class and come back and have that freedom. Hey, don't rebel against the teacher. You finish your rebellion with your parents and then come to the class. How the rebellious attitude continues from parents to guru. For what? You have your parents to rebel. God-given parents are there to rebel against. Why are you rebelling against the teacher? Finish your rebellion there. Yeah. Therefore, if you are having this, why I am saying all this? Because these hangovers are there. I have been teaching for 35 years. You think I won't see all these things? Some of you all adults come to you. So, who said adults don't have rebellion in them? Don't have resistance in them? Yeah, of course they have. I know I have a rebellious streak in me. In my 60s, I have a rebellious streak. It only comes out when I am dealing with youngsters, so they can identify with me very fast, very well. So I use it only for that. Why? Because these are all traits in you which you can handle. If Shamadama is there, you can handle all that. Samadhama is not there, you can't handle it. Therefore, to have that mumukshutvam, that commitment, along with the other priorities, this priority is equally important. In time, this will be the ultimate priority in everyone's life. That's why in olden days it was geared like that. First, the life of a student, where you gain knowledge and preparation, skills you necessary to lead your life. Then you lead your life, grahastha ashrama, dharma artha kama, fulfill it. Then vani, withdraw. Spend your time in spiritual studies. Finally, sannyasa, nothing else but moksha. It worked well. Nowadays, after retirement, what do? Become a consultant. Nothing wrong, because you are doing something productive. Nothing wrong in it. But when will you study Vedanta? You know, the advantage of being teaching in one place for a long time. When I first started teaching 35 years ago, they were youngsters. The Swamiji, what you're teaching is very good. Huh? Even though I was in white, they would call me that. I will come. Come. Right now a few projects, I'm just starting my career. I said, okay. I'm a patient man. Then they got married, they got kids, they got this, they got that. And I run into them. I don't ask them anything. I don't believe in making people unnecessarily uncomfortable. Those who attend my class, sometimes I'll make them uncomfortable. Because that's part of growth. Others, I don't believe in making them uncomfortable. Oh, I'm not their teacher. But they will feel uncomfortable and say, Swamiji, I'll come. Then they retire. Then I'll tell them, hey, now you're retired. You have all the time in the world. But Swamiji, now I'm involved with my ALM. My son is having a child. I have to go there and help him look after the kid. So then your job goes in being a social worker, being an unpaid nanny for your children and your grandchildren. So when are you going to take that time for the most important pursuit in your life? Your own sense of fulfillment. Your own freedom from all sense of limitation. From your freedom of being a human being. When are you going to do that? That's why I have respect for people who have come to my class late in life. In their 70s or 80s. I say, yeah, he is not saying, now what to do in my life now. He says, no, last 10 years I will make a follow-out effort. I respect them for that. Obviously, they are studying from someone younger. Yeah, people in my class were at least 10 years older than me, 10, 15 years older than me, but still committed to learning. Good. Here I come, moksha or bust. A good attitude to have. That commitment, mumukshutvam. If that commitment is there, other things will fall into place. But Swamiji, I found that ever since I come here, things have been going wrong. Things have been going wrong before also. Now you are more awareful, that's all. It's human life. Some things will go right, some things will go wrong. That's natural. It's not that because you are coming for this, things are going wrong. Because you are coming for things like that, you are more awareful. Therefore, you feel the pinch of other things. That is all. That is all. Yeah. So this is the big picture of what it takes to be a student of Vedanta. If your mind is like this, there is no way you cannot listen to Vedanta and own it up in your life. So now you look into it. This is meant as a self-evaluation. Look into it. See what is there, what has to be refined. I'm sure all of you have some amount of it. All of you have it. Shat Sampati is there with you all in some measure. Here and there it may require some fine tuning, some polishing, some building up. You can't be with me for so long without having any of these. You would have run away, like many people have. You all know some people in your own classes who have run away from all this. That's why I don't have to pick and choose very often. People run away on their own. Only sometimes I have to do that. Yeah. So see where it requires fine tuning. A lot of people in city life, I find mumukshutvam. They're not really understood what moksha is about. They take the study as part of other studies they're doing or other activities they are doing. Vedanta is not an activity that you're doing. 2 days I play badminton. 2 days I go for a walk. 2 days I am with my friends. And 1 day I come for Vedanta. Doesn't work like that. Yeah. It doesn't work like that. Karma Yoga is 24/7. Simple as that. That's easy because you don't have to do anything different. That comes as Uparati. If you have been living a family life, some amount of Samadama is already there. Titiksha is already there. Some amount of it. When you have to look after a child or if you have to look after a parent, some titiksha has to be there. You can't do it without that. Shraddha may be a bit questionable because of too much of exposure to secularism or too much of exposure to religion and you turning away from that. Samadhanam also to a great extent it can be there. Mumukshutvam is where most people find it difficult. So see what is necessary, fine tune it, then things will be fine. Yeah. How can it not be fine? I am doing all this for preparing for you all for higher texts, okay? So this is back to basics so that when I do the higher texts, Siddhi Granthas, etc., all of you will be clear about it. So good place to stop. Om Tat Sat.